The Hogsty is brought to you by TicketClub.com, your one-stop shop for live events nationwide. Whether you're looking for game, theater, or live performance tickets, don't sweat it. TicketClub.com has you covered. So make sure you're going there for all your live entertainment needs, and make sure you're clicking over to them from the banner at the top of thehogsty.com.
By fans, for fans, the Hog Style. And now, here's your host, Sean Conti.
Welcome back to the Hogsty. It's the post-game show brought to you by TicketClub.com. Get those tickets today for the Skins-Eagles game, and make sure you're doing it by clicking the banner at the top of the Hogsty's homepage. Get them today. My name's Sean, and I got Steve Thomas, Alex Zeese, and Jamal Forrest with me here on the show. How you guys doing?
Good. For a change.
Good.
Doing much better. Yeah, since we got a win.
We
It's
snapped
been a
the
while.
four-game. We should all be pretty good at it, right?
Right.
I think we are.
Although, I will say, like, the second we won the game, the first tweets I saw were, and we screwed up draft position.
Yeah, right.
Hey, can I let's talk about this right now, because I don't
like hearing it either.
You guys who think that are not fans. I'm sorry, but you're not. You know, be happy that your team won a game and worry about next year. That's my thought.
Well said.
So
I don't like negative Nellies.
Think that.
And
Boy.
that's, strong language.
Before we get too far into the game, because we definitely have plenty to talk about there, I want to respond to that. Tell us, Alex, about the petition we got going on.
Oh, you wanted me to talk about that? I didn't realize that. But, okay. So, for all you real Redskins fans out there, I'm sure you saw all this news about the Redskins are trying to get the land at RFK now to build their stadium. And, of course, the not-in-my-backyard people who live on Capitol Hill in their little million-dollar row homes are all up in arms because they don't want the stadium there to replace the old stadium that's just sitting there, not being used. And
Right.
I thought to myself, I live here. I actually want the stadium back in my city. So I put up a petition on our website. Steve helped me with a little bit of the wording. And I'm asking real Redskins fans, go out there onto our website, sign the petition. We're going to get it to Congress and, the D.C. City Council if we can get 5,000 signatures. I'll even go hand deliver it to, the right people in Congress if I have to. But
There you go.
That's the goal.
Yeah, listen, we're serious about this. We are serious about this. We are going to
Yes.
deliver it to Congress. We did, there's going to be a, 45-minute show on It's Just
Right.
Business coming out this Wednesday that is dedicated. It's all about the Redskins and their new stadium effort. We had Rick Snyder on about it. We are dead serious about this petition. So, guys, please sign, because we really want to make your voice heard in Congress about getting the first step of this done, which is leasing the land
Right.
back to D.C.
Exactly.
That's what needs to happen first, and that's what this
All
petition
right, well,
about.
where can people sign this, guys?
Well,
Tell us
if
how we
you
can get to it.
go to our website, it is under Hogsty Projects. It says RFK petition, I believe.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so very easy to find on our website. Also, on our Twitter, we're retweeting it like every hour or so. I don't know how often we're going to do.
We've tweeted it. We tweeted it once, but
We'll be tweeting it out, retweeting it out. So just kind of pay attention, look for it there.
There you go. Like all things, come to the Hogsty's homepage. You can get to all awesome stuff from there,
Right.
including getting those tickets.
Can we? Yeah, because we know it's not cheaper to do it on
Right.
Redskins.com.
That's right.
Can we address one thing before
Yes,
we get
we
into the
can.
game? Because I really want to get you guys' opinion on why on earth did the Redskins cut Capri Bibbs? Somebody help me. I don't
I think
understand.
a lot of people are confused about that, Steve. You're not the only one asking questions.
I think the coaching staff is confused.
The only logic I can see to it is who are the three guys that they brought in to replace the three guys Nick Sundberg went on IR, so we brought in another long snapper. But we brought in who? Holsey to play defensive back.
Yes, they brought him.
And we
up
brought
from
in
the
a tight
practice
end,
squad.
right?
They brought Matt Flanagan up from the practice squad, and then we signed Kyle Fuller,
Right.
the guard.
So the only one
Outright
that makes sense is the Flanagan move. And, maybe with Reed out, they just are like, well, we need a third tight end. And we did use Flanagan.
Well, no, I mean the corner makes sense too because Greg
Yeah,
Stoneman stinks.
he's struggled.
See, at least
Yeah.
right now he does. Yeah, And so, I mean, I get Halsey. I just didn't understand who decided. Basically, what they did is they picked Samaje Perine and Byron Marshall over Capri Bibbs, and I didn't understand either one of those. I didn't understand that choice. I don't know what they were thinking.
Well,
Jamal, tell me, am I wrong
I don't know
or
what
what?
they were thinking. It's weird because Capri Bibbs. Well, I'll put it this way. I'll simplify it. It's not weird in the sense that he got cut, given how they were treating him prior to him getting cut, because they weren't playing him at all. He wasn't really getting the snaps that we felt that he should have. So with that being said, I don't necessarily think that aspect is weird. It's more, they never really. It's the same treatment that they had with the semi-Cobbs receiver. So it's like they didn't really pay him any attention, although he's been playing well when he's gotten his opportunities. So I don't know what they were thinking. I definitely felt that he was probably better than well, we don't know. Samaje, he hasn't had that many opportunities, deservedly so. He fumbles a lot, but Byron Marshall, I mean, you could have made a case that he deserves a roster spot over him. So it's just weird. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think really it comes down to a question of you had three guys in Thompson, Marshall, and Bibbs who are all kind of that pass catching threat running back. I mean, Bibbs and Marshall probably bigger than Thompson, right? But in general, they all have the same role. So maybe I think it was really just a numbers game when they felt like they needed to maybe to race a corner.
Well, I get the numbers game of. I get the numbers game of cutting a running back, but I just don't get how you arrive at Bibbs as the guy to get cut. Yeah. I think he's better running back than Samaje Perine for sure, and Byron Marshall.
He had that big screen today.
I understand, but we haven't seen him. I don't know. We can talk about this more next time. I don't mean to hijack the show, but I was really confused by that.
No, there's been a number of weird kind of roster moves in the last week or so. So, and you're not the only one to call attention to it. But as far as, like you said, as far as who they picked to get rid of, it's just weird.
I can't tell you it makes perfect sense. All I can say is I'm sure that it was factored in about the whole, well, we have two other guys who do this. So I'm sure that was part of it.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense only to a degree. But again, it's like who they picked was like, come on. But anyways, let's get into this Jaguars game. It was a victory, which means we beat the Vegas odds makers. We beat most of our predictions here on the show, I believe. We were close on the score. Yes. But let's get into it. And why don't we just start with that offense, since that's always sort of the big question mark going in. Josh Johnson showed some fight back. What do we see today?
First of all, Josh was 16 and 25 for 151 yards, and he rushed for 9 carries of 49.
So just under 200 yards. Yeah.
Total offense.
Well, those are Alex Smith numbers. I'll take it.
I mean, the Jaguars were ready for him running, right? They were ready for the QB option. They ran that RPO with the bunch formation on the left like 3 times, and it worked when the handoff went to Thompson. It didn't really work much when Johnson kept the ball. They were kind of ready for it. It was, frankly, a boring offensive game right up till the end of the game.
God, you are understating that so much.
Yeah.
This was brutal to watch. Battle of the lightweights.
I thought Johnson had a habit of holding the ball way too long. He caused a couple of those sacks by holding the ball. He sailed a couple passes. I liked how he took the deep shot. He was unafraid to take the deep shot. Even he took him when he shouldn't have taken him.
Yeah, both his deep shots were kind of iffy.
Didn't get intercepted. Yeah, he was lucky they didn't get intercepted. But, I like the fact that we took more deep shots than we have in previous games, previous quarterbacks, and that's good. I think it's kind of ironic that he and Sanchez are the two that took the most deep shots, Yeah. It's kind of funny. But they won the game, and that's good. I don't think Johnson established himself as the starter of the future or anything today. And he's got a lot to work on.
What you saw is what a guy who's just coming into the league after, being out of the league for the first 13 weeks is going to do.
That's right.
No
surprises.
Yeah.
Just like last week, just to underscore the point, we saw so many quick. How many drives? Did you count the drives again this week, Steve? I haven't counted them.
Yeah, I always do. I always count the drives, man. We had 11 drives.
So again, that's above the average for most games.
A little bit. That's not like last week, though. Last week was
Yeah.
bad.
Last week was crazy. But still, you had so many back and forths. We had at least 3 drives that went for negative yards. That's 2 for us, and I think 1 for Jacksonville. Just a boring game. I mean, they came out and fumbled. Punts, field goals, punts, all the way.
The funny thing is, in the first half, we had more penalties than we had first downs. We had 5 penalties. We had 5 penalties and only 2 first downs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, listen, Morgan Moses is about to penalty flag himself off this team.
It's been a problem.
You know, that guy has – I mean, I like the way he plays. I'm glad they found, a starting right tackle in the 3rd round, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But this dude has got to cut out the penalties or, I mean, he's going to get cut. He's cost the Redskins drives many times this year with the holding and the false starts and stuff. It's just crazy.
An S show, Steve. It is like a complete mess.
He's an original
Yeah, I
starter,
know.
though.
But they're all dragging each other down. There's so much churn. There's so much in and out. There's so many injuries. It's just an S show.
I think there's some of that, and
don't know if they
we
even
know
know
how
their
badly
names.
he got hurt playing last year. I don't know if there may be some lingering effects from just the wear and tear he had. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, there's something going on. I wouldn't be surprised, Alex, because there's something going on with health on this team and the ability to maintain it through the season. I mean, there's something really rotten, which we said a couple weeks ago. But it's still showing. I mean, yeah, he could be. Who's not dealing with lingering issues?
I mean, this late in the year, it's probably hard to find somebody.
Samaje Perine, because he hasn't played.
That's
you
the
go.
best answer.
He's healthy as a...
Oh, no, wait, he was sidelined with an ankle
I
injury.
think,
Who knows?
you know
He
what
may
I
still
think
be
is I
hurt.
think
Dang, you're right.
Probably is.
I think somewhere Robert Griffin is sitting in Baltimore poking a voodoo doll into a Jay Gruden, doll. That's what it's called.
Yeah, he's got a picture of the roster, and he's just burning holes with a cigarette.
I would be, too.
Something. That's what's going on.
Well, Steve, why don't you give us the stats or something for the offense so we can run
Numbers. All right. Okay, Ardea Johnson, 16 for 25, 151 yards. Adrian Peterson was 19 for 51, average 2.7 yards per carry at the long of 15. Johnson, like I said, rushed for 9 carries, 49 yards. Chris Thompson was 5 for 9.
No.
That's not good. The leading receiver was Jamison Crowder, who was 4 for 46. That's pathetic for a leading receiver. Adrian Peterson, 2 for 20. Jeremy Sprinkle, 3 for 19 and a touchdown. Byron Marshall, 1 for 17. Vernon Davis, 2 for 16. Michael Floyd, 2 for 16. Maurice Harris, 1 for 13. Chris Thompson, 1 for 4. Josh Doxson had a big 0 for 0, as did Matt Flanagan. On the Jacksonville side, Cody Kessler, 9 for 17 for all of 57 yards. Yes, 7 yards. 35.7
Sanchez-like.
1 interception.
Yeah. Wow.
That's worse than Sanchez, dude.
It
That's way
might
worse
be.
than Sanchez. Not might be. Kessler was also the leading rusher for the Jags, 6 for 60. He was the leading rusher on the day, actually,
Yeah.
6 for 68. Leonard Fournette, 11 for 46. David Williams, 5 for 32. D.D. Westbrook, 1 for 20. T.J. Yeldon, 3 for 6. And the leading receiver for the Jags was D.D. Westbrook, 3 for 21. On the defensive side, Mason Foster led the way with 7 total tackles. Ryan Kerrigan, 6 tackles, 2 sacks.
Oh, let's give a little golf clap to him
Jonathan
before we
Allen.
forget for getting to second all time on the Redskins sack total.
Yeah,
Yeah.
golf clap. That's true. Golf clap. Absolutely. Jonathan Allen had 2 sacks. Zach Brown had a sack. Sean Dean Hamilton half a sack. Preston Smith half a sack. It was a total of 6 on the day. And from the Jacksonville side, and of course we got to give Fabian Moreau credit for the interception. That was great. Calais Campbell had a sack. Avery Jones had a sack. Nick DeLuca had a sack. That was 3. So that is stats for the day. And you got to give the D.D. Westbrook golf clap for the big 74-yard
Yes.
Yeah.
return
Yeah.
for a touchdown.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, what stands out? I mean, I guess I feel like hearing all of that, you see Crowder with some points. You see, I just wish the team could all be healthy at once all together. I mean, you keep seeing flashes, but obviously this offense is still an anchor. Looking over these stats, too, I was just looking at Peterson's game log, and I got to say, he hasn't really regressed through all the churn and all the turnover. He's still putting in just about the average performance that he did for most of this year, which is pretty impressive.
He keeps getting hit
Yeah.
in the backfield.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no running
Yeah.
room for him. I mean, at all. He had the one, 15-yarder? I mean, that was there were about maybe 3 or 4 of those carries where he had legit running room. But, When you got Luke
Yeah.
Polanco and Zach Karam as your guards, I mean, it's not going to go well.
It's the exact same issue we've had the last 3 years at the running game. It's just Peterson is a very good back, so he does get a few runs that go for a positive gain in the end. I mean, if you really think about it, he had what? You said 40-something, 50 yards? Something like that.
51.
Half of those came on that last drive.
That's pretty clutch.
That's
good point.
ridiculous. Yeah.
51.
About 25 of those came on that last drive for the field goal to win.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really great point. And that's when you needed it most. So, I mean, what does it say, I'll ask you, about this team that it's showing fight like that, which we haven't really seen at any other point during the year? I mean, honestly, what does it say about this team that with this roster, they're fighting back and winning a scrappy game?
It says that they finally faced the Jacksonville team and it stinks as bad
Well,
as
that's part of it,
When
yeah.
you're that
That's a
late
big
into
part
a
of it.
game,
Sorry.
where you're neck and neck with an opponent, it gives you like the added boost that you can win this game, and that's basically what it was, and it's a good thing. It gave them some confidence, and this type of game for the defense who was struggling the last 5 weeks, however long it's been since the Houston game or the Atlanta game. It gives them some confidence
like
going into the Titans game, but it's a much needed game for the team itself.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is, and I'm glad they did well, but I don't want to overstate what happened here today.
Yeah, and that's
Jaguars
basically what I was getting at. Like, that's the team that
4-9
you
for a
can
reason.
you can gain some type of confidence, whether it's faulty or not. It's something to move forward to.
I mean, it all counts as a win. The Redskins keep their faintest of faint playoff hopes alive,
Right.
with this. And so, I mean, they did what, they hadn't done it in the past 4 weeks, but today they did what they needed to do, and you got to give them some credit. It doesn't matter who you're playing, at the end of the day, they get a win. And
I mean,
that's all it really matters.
there are a lot of little things that they did in this game that they haven't done all year. They haven't come back from a 7-point deficit, I believe, all year to win a game.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at with the fight thing. Like, I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's more than we've seen.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: the team is 7-7 now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
Or is this a team that is more like a 5-win team, a 4-win team that has somehow pulled it out again?
No. I think this is a 500 caliber team that overperformed early when they were healthy and has underperformed probably a little more than they should have when they started getting hurt. So it's kind of evening out.
I think that's accurate.
I subscribe to the, you are what your record says you are theory. I mean, they won 7 games. They're a 7-win team. What can you say? I mean, I don't want to say they should be, they're better than this. They're not. They're 7-7. No better, no worse. That's the end of it. Would it have been different if they had had a healthy team all year? Obviously so, probably. But they weren't.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because remember, at the beginning of this season, we all across the board, when we were doing our season predictions, called this Jaguars win easily. I don't think any of us predict the Redskins would beat the Jaguars.
Well, yeah, but the Jaguars were, 13-3 last year? I mean...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just everything's completely changed, the whole landscape, like it always does, so... All right, well, what else can we say about offense before we switch to defensive stuff? I mean, we got to come up with something, knowing this is such a hard time.
I have. Number one, what has happened to Maurice Harris? Where has this guy gone? I realize that we've had a bunch of quarterbacks, in this, getting hurt and blah, blah, blah. We know that. But Maurice Harris has absolutely completely disappeared.
2 freaking targets.
I don't think it's... Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily because James Crowder is back. I don't know what is going on with Maurice Harris. Maybe it is just a quarterback problem, but that sticks out. What else? I mean, I didn't think the Vernon Davis play was a drop. I thought, the long sideline pass, I thought it was a good defensive play. A lot of you out there thought it was a drop. But the bottom line is Vernon Davis, as athletic as he is and as a freak of nature as he is, he does drop a lot of passes.
Yeah.
He's done it all year. Even though today I didn't think that was
there's been a
drop.
drop-off in his whole play
I
this year from
agree.
last year.
And also, too, just to add, I think we've touched on it already, but I think the second half, mainly Josh Johnson, he played. It was ugly. I already mentioned we only had 2 first downs in the first half, but the second half, late into the fourth quarter, really was something. It was a good thing to watch. Whatever it is that sparked it, good for them. However, at the same time, to see a team move the ball so efficiently when their backs are against the wall, and I mean, given that it is for them, who knows what it's like realistically, but for them, they know that they're still in the playoff hunt. For them to see them fight like that in the fourth quarter, and specifically the offense and Josh Johnson, it was a good thing. And 0-5 as a starter, 1-5 now, so good for him, real good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, actually. That's a good call-out. I forgot they were saying that. He did not want
to go back to what Steve was talking about with Harris, I'm going to say the other weird thing about the receiving core, why is Floyd getting so much play over Harris, for example?
Yeah, it's rough.
Like, I'm seeing a lot of number 17 out there and not a lot of number 13 for some reason.
My assumption.
Here's the thing, though. He had more targets. He had one more. I mean, they had 3 and 2. I think that's one thing you can say about Johnson is he's not favoring anyone, which is probably completely understandable for a guy who's new.
He doesn't have a rapport with anyone yet.
He has, so he's being very generous to everybody. Well, not generous to
And
anybody.
my assumption is that
he's not favoring anyone.
Floyd is our Ryan Grant this year in terms of his ability to just the coaches. I'm not even we know how great Ryan Grant is. I'm not saying Michael Floyd is that great, but I'm just saying that he is the guy who I guess they feel like he can do it all because he is very respectable in the run game as a receiver. So I take it that's why his usage, he's on the field a lot. That's only my assumption. I will have to dive deeper into that, but that's what I feel like he is in terms of a player.
I have seen him blocking on runs a lot, but I feel like that wasn't something Harris shied away from exactly either.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, I mean, first of all, Trey Quinn was this year's Ryan Grant. He's clearly the guy that has Jay Gruden's, Jay Gruden, is in his heart, for sure. That's Trey, number one. I don't know. I mean, it's something that, somebody needs to watch some film about it and see what's going on with Maurice Harris. I just bring that up because, he was a guy we were all excited about for the most part headed into the season, and it's really dropped off for him. I just think it's really odd.
Yeah, he had a couple good breakout games.
Yeah, he did.
Then disappeared.
Yeah. And in terms of the offensive line, I know, I mean, look, Nsekhe went down, halfway through this game or in the third quarter. I mean, they're down to, at one point we had Zach Karam and Luke Bowanko as our starting guards. And I mean, you just can't overstate the negative impact that kind of thing has.
There are people out there who are like, oh, you can plug anyone in at guard. No, you can't. You can't get 9 deep at guard and still be like, we're fine. Because that's what we're seeing right now.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys this? Is there any chance that all these kind of baffling roster moves, Simi Cobbs goes, these other guys go, is there any chance that this is just the start of a rebuild, that we're just seeing, let's get some new people in here, maybe we'll see even different combinations next week? Is this just the start of, let's get rid of anyone who's not a lock?
Well, I don't think Simi Cobbs, they really wanted to get rid of him. The Saints took him. Well, he did have a choice. The Redskins, apparently the story, as I understand it, this is from the beat writers. Yeah, he had a choice. The Redskins offered him a contract, and he wisely, smartly took the Saints because, who wouldn't?
Exactly.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, for God's sakes, who would blame him for that? I mean, what you can blame the team for is, they carried 52 men on the roster for an entire week. They had an open roster spot.
Why didn't they bring him up? Why didn't they bring him up 3 weeks ago even when they started struggling at receiver?
So I feel just
true.
to answer your question, I don't know if it's the start to a rebuild per se, because the start to a rebuild it would involve front office changes or staff changes and stuff like that. So so not necessarily just yet. I don't think that this is the start of anything like that. This is something that you'll have to revisit at the end of the year. And to be honest with you, moving forward, it would be unfortunate that, I will put it this way, it would be unfortunate that this win, if it happens, that this win would murk up the reality of the situation that's going on in Washington. So I just leave it. I'll leave it at that. But I don't think this is the start of it.
Well, I think it will, because I think that's how the Redskins operate. But furthermore, I was going to just point out, because I know you guys probably aren't watching the local pregame shows, since 2 of the 3 of you aren't local.
We're not local. Yeah.
On NBC, on their show, I don't remember who it was. Mike Jones, I think, was saying that it sounds like Gruden will be back next year, from what he's hearing. So,
Well, I mean, look, I mean, people need to remember, I mean, yeah, I still think they need to clean house, and I kind of agree with Jamal, with what he's saying. If it's going to muck up a rebuild, that's not necessarily a good thing. But, Jay, I mean, don't forget he signed in a contract extension. At the beginning in this offseason, the end of last season, and the extension hasn't even kicked in yet. And so if they fire him,
they basically owe him
the salary cap. It's just
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that long, but I think his extension was 2 years, I believe. But yeah, it's a lot of money that what's his name, Dan Snyder has to just fork out. So that's not people shouldn't.
No, they should not. That. Dan Snyder doesn't want to fork out money like that.
No, he's a cheapskate when it comes to this. I mean, who can blame him? And also, I mean, quite frankly, I mean, he authorized. I mean, he's the one that authorized the extension. Yeah. Somebody does believe in Jay, and I mean, I think if they end up 8-8, the excuse obviously is injuries again.
Right.
I think if they end up 8-8, or even 7-9 at this point, I think it's definitely going to keep major changes.
Yeah, and they were talking on the broadcast today about Smith coming back, and they how they thought it was a lock. He'll be back next year now.
Well, I mean, Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to play Smith
if he's healthy.
I mean, people don't understand this. Yeah, if he's healthy, Smith is going to play, okay? People need to just get over that. You need to get past it, and you need to move on. Because the dude's contract is so enormous when it comes to guaranteed money, they are not going to not play him if he can play. So just get over Teddy Bridgewater, get over the first-round draft pick, get over it. Smith is going to be the quarterback next year if he can.
Or he'll at least be on the roster if he's like on IR for a whole year or on the PUP or something.
Yeah, which is what we were speculating.
Yeah, I mean, and so if it... Yeah, I mean, and if his rehab doesn't go well,
that's a different story.
Over the year, yeah, we'll see. But either way, they're not going to cut him, and he's probably not going to retire.
Oh, delightful times, guys! Delightful times to be a fan. All right, let's switch to defense because we have gone way over. Let's talk a little bit about that because we did see some good things on defense, right? Ryan Kerrigan patting his stats up there, getting up to the all-time sack leaders, right, for the Redskins.
Second place now. He's got 9 or 8.5 to go to get to first.
There you go.
The record's 91. He's at 82.5. So,
there you go. All right, well, let's talk about it. What did we see on defense? I mean, do you give this one to the defense, or do you look at it and you say, you know what, this is Cody Kessler. This is a bunch of nobodies. Not much.
I mean,
how you take this?
You play who you play. I don't necessarily. The defense just as easily with everything going on in the offseason, or in in this week with Foster and Brown complaining in the media, they could have phoned it in. Sure. They could have packed up shop and everyone could have gone home with their little ball, and they didn't.
I think we all thought that.
Yeah, I mean, we all kind of said that's probably what was going to happen, that the guys who have checked out are done. But what I saw was the front four really still cares. Jonathan Allen and Payne and Kerrigan, they definitely were bringing their best effort.
Absolutely.
You saw some good play in the secondary. Clinton Dix probably had his best game. So I don't think they've given up.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk from an X's and O's standpoint, I mean, the defensive front three really dominated the Jags offensive line, basically all day long. They got a lot of success off blitzes. It should be said, that the Jags' offensive line is a little banged up. They were playing the backup right tackle, and Ryan Kerrigan did exactly what he should have done, against a guy like that. And they did what they should have done, but they blitzed a lot more today. If you guys noticed that, they brought the backers up and were blitzing them a lot.
Brown got a sack.
Which they didn't. They haven't done against other quarterbacks. And this is Cody Kessler, and we said this in the preview. When you have a team like the Jags who are limited in the air, and a quarterback like Kessler who isn't supposed to be that mobile, you blitz him. You blitz the heck out of him, and that's exactly what the Redskins did, and it worked.
Yeah, they kept the pressure on. I mean, we were just saying that. Look at that. I mean, first half, I know they were able to do some things. Actually, was that when the punt return came in the first half? Was that what they scored? Punt return touchdown.
Yeah, that was the. That was at the bitter end of the first half.
Yeah, so really we held them to 3 points for that whole first half. I mean, we went after them. We did exactly what we needed to do. This is where they were susceptible, and you can't fault the team for taking the opportunities that are there. But 6 sacks. I mean, it was all the guys up front.
Yeah,
like we said. All right, what else we got on defense? Because we are at 30 minutes. We got to do game balls. I mean, what else did we see? We have any other defensive stuff? Lingering thoughts?
Well, yeah. Mason. Foster. After all the controversy, he led the team in tackles again. There were a couple of plays where it looked like he was out of position again. So it wasn't necessarily that he had rebound game, but. I did see at least once he beat somebody to the edge. So that's progress because he usually gets beaten to the edge. So I point that up. Like you said, Clinton Dix had, a couple more tackles than he otherwise probably wouldn't make. That was good. Josh Norman didn't get picked on too much.
I was laughing. Didn't get picked on too much.
Yeah, well, when you have 57 yards passing or whatever Kessler had,
about
57 yards, nobody got picked on.
I don't even remember him throwing a pass to a wide receiver. It feels like.
Yeah,
I know he did, but it doesn't feel like he did.
He had to fade in the end zone. And,
yeah, it's one of those games.
So it was a good defensive effort. It was a game that they should have had a good defensive effort on, and they did.
Yeah, it sucks, but I feel like that's really all that you can say about it with the state of the team at this point of the season. What else can you say?
They didn't come out and piss themselves. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, and you know what? That's all we can really ask for with the team at the second and third stringers and tons of uncertainty in these offseason. What more can we ask for? All right, should we do game balls?
Sure.
This one should be easier than the last one.
Last one we didn't do them. Yeah. We just gave up.
Did we not give them last week?
No.
Last week we did go to the game.
That's right. That's right. God, I'm trying not to remember week by week here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll lead us off. Hell, let's do it. Offense, I'm going to give it right to Josh Johnson, frankly. 93 rating, 151 yards is nothing. He had the one touchdown, but he showed some fight, particularly towards the end of the game there, and you can't take that away. But really, I'm just doing this because who else are you going to give it to? Nobody stands out. I've given plenty to Peterson this year. Let's give it to Johnson. And then defensively, let's give it to Kerrigan for having a good game, 2 sacks, and also continuing to climb up that all-time Redskins ranking board. I like it. So show some good heart there at the end of the season. That'll get a game ball from me every time.
Yeah, I think Josh Johnson definitely deserves a game ball. I think any coach would probably give it to him. When the man comes in and starts for the first time in 7 years and gets a win, didn't have the greatest game in the world, didn't make any huge mistakes either. No interceptions, no fumbles. I think he definitely deserves a game ball. And I'm going to give my defensive game ball to Fabian Moreau for the big interception, which was realistically probably a field goal saving interception. He's been abused, used and abused at times this year, but came through on that play, which ended up being critical. So those two guys, Fabian Moreau, Josh Johnson.
Ball, by the way?
Yeah,
somebody tipped that, right?
Yeah, someone did. I couldn't remember. I don't remember who.
I
didn't write it down.
I thought it was actually one of the receivers.
That's what I was about to say. I thought it was two people fighting for the ball and it got tipped, but that's what I remember. I don't know.
Yeah,
something like that.
All right, I can go next if you're not ready to
go.
Okay.
Offensively, Josh Johnson for the obvious reasons. I already spoke about what he did in the fourth quarter, in the second half alone. So, and then especially earning his first win as a starter. So I'll go ahead and give him the game ball. He played pretty good. It's a good defense. So he played pretty good. And then for the defense, I would go. I would say Kerrigan. I guess I'd go Kerrigan. I was thinking either Kerrigan or Jonathan Allen or Deron Payne. I had a couple choices in my head. The defensive front for the Skins did all right, except for towards the end when they was getting gashed for whatever reason. That was kind of weird, given how they was playing throughout the whole game. But I guess I'll just go ahead and just say Kerrigan. Give it to him.
Very good.
All right, so I'm going to give my defense first, and that is going to be Allen because, he also had 2 sacks, and I think, he just kind of dominated the line of scrimmage all day long, and sometimes that gets overlooked. And then on offense, I want to say Josh Johnson, but I think we don't give this guy enough game balls, and that's Tress Way. He's gone another game without a single touchback, and I think he had, 3 punts that landed in the 5-yard line area? So
The dude is a punting.
No, he is doing something that I don't think anyone's ever done. He could go a whole season without a single touchback.
I thought he
almost
had one there today.
Nope.
He came close.
Oh, wow.
He leads the league in punts inside the 20 and 0 touchbacks.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yep.
So that's one of those things that gets lost in the noise of a crappy season.
Yeah.
He better go to the Pro Bowl.
Okay, well, very good. Yeah, that's right. We might actually be represented there. That sounds good.
You never know. In terms of injuries, we saw Ty Nsekhe go down. Looked like to me it was a right knee. I don't have anything more on that. Josh Holsey lasted less than 24 hours before he went down there later in the game. He was out. Danny Johnson who came in for Holsey, got banged up and went out. So there's that.
Adrian Peterson got poked in the eye early and came back.
He got poked in the eye and came back. Nick Sundberg put out a note on social media thanking his Redskins Nation for supporting him, and he says, since last season I've been dealing with herniated and bulging discs that have been impinging a nerve in my lower back. With 5 epidurals over the last year, I was able to fight through. Unfortunately, I had an unexpected change in symptoms and have been warned that if I try to play any longer this year, I risk permanent damage and loss of mobility going forward. Thankfully, the surgery we have scheduled Tuesday should fix all these issues and get me back to 100% before next season. Had no idea Sundberg was going through all that stuff.
Nick Sundberg might be one of the toughest people on this team, and he's the freaking long snapper. Most people are like bedridden with a bulging disc, Yeah.
And he's out there playing. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
So get well soon, Nick Sundberg, because your replacement almost muffed a snap on the first part of the game this week.
Yeah.
You guys noticed.
Hurry back, please. All right. Well, very good. Make sure you sign our petition over at thehogsty.com. Make sure you get your game tickets from Ticket Club, which you get to from thehogsty.com. And other than that, we will see you all next week. Actually, in just a couple days. What am I talking about next week? We still got games to play here at the end of the season.
It's
2
days.
2 days.
We'll see you in 2 days right here on the Hogsty. Take care. Cut.